Well. I finally got everything, I think, operating and functioning. Tonight is my first show on YouTube Live. So we have moved over from Facebook to YouTube Live for a number of reasons. So, for those of you that are here the first time with me here, allow me to make some adjustments as we were kind of getting everything set up for our show tonight. We had a lot of different things going on behind the scenes while I was trying to figure out which buttons to push and all the wonderful things to do. So I want to thank all of you for being here. If this is your first time, Amp Life Talk Radio, we have been doing some stuff for a while. Um, Man, I don't even know how to explain it to you. If you were over on Facebook, I had Facebook Live where I did most of my stuff, but now I've kind of redid the structure of my little small studio here and got it set up to where I can actually be on YouTube Live. It's time for us to make that jump and that change. I hope whoever comes across the show, I really do hope that you like it, and I hope that you appreciate it and what we're trying to do here for amputees. Amp Life Talk Radio is a show for amputees and those affected by limb loss. Whether you're a family member, caregiver, spouse, partner, girlfriend, whoever you may be, this is for you. I try to come up with topics that are relevant to amputees and their family members or anybody that is suffering from limb loss. So, welcome, all of you YouTubers, man. This is a big moment for me to be able to do live shows on YouTube. I'm very excited about it, and hopefully, you guys won't crack on me too hard out there because I just basically this is my first time launching on YouTube live, man. I love the whole live streaming effect. Now, let's take care of some stuff before I actually really get into the show. One, if you want to listen to the actual podcast live, meaning live streaming, you must go to Spreaker.com. Type in the search bar Amp Life Talk Radio, and then you will have to register more than likely. But there you can actually conversate with me. And I just happened to notice, even on YouTube, you can chat and ask me questions and do different things here. We have the same feature over at Spreaker.com. So you can use either one of those platforms to communicate with me, talk to me, chat with me. I have both screens up. In fact, I have a really big screen to my left here where all this is supposed to be, but last minute setting that up, I would have to reboot the computer, and that's another show. But we have finally got the studio adjusted to where I think it's a better look for me and what I do. I think I'm going to move my camera over a little bit off of the FaceTime camera because that was trying to read off of my camera, but it looks like FaceTime video does better than the actual camera that I bought. So you're probably going to see me using that a lot. Again, now that we've kind of got all that done, there is the website, of course, amplifetalkradio.com. There is also our own app you can get through the Google Play Store. We don't have anything for iPhones yet, but if you do have an iPhone, we are on iTunes. So you can just go over there and type in the show Amp Life Talk Radio. Also, we are up on iHeart Radio, and we're on Spotify. So those are some of the places you can listen to the podcast once it's done. For all the people on Facebook, I know who are looking for me right now, they're probably going, "Man, what happened to the show?" Well, we're not there. We're over here tonight. So hopefully all of you will really enjoy the show tonight as we are here doing something a little different than what you are used to. But I am sure all of you will get very used to me over here on this end of things, doing things on this side of the show. Now, because I can't really see myself on video, you're going to be able to see me because I have to go through all my notes and read everything that I put up. So I really hope everybody enjoys the show, and I hope that you all appreciate what we bring to you as amputees. Again, this is Amp Life Talk Radio. I am your host, Sean Harrison. Now, for those of you that don't know, this is season 2, episode 36. You saw in the subtitle of this video the impact of amputation on body image. We're going to be talking about that a little bit tonight. I've addressed that issue on several other shows and talked about it. Tonight, I just wanted to kind of retouch on that. And a lot of times when I retouch on something, it's because I'm seeing it in what I do as a profession for a living. So, what has been transpiring basically is that I'm seeing patients and this issue kind of comes up. So, when this issue comes up, I like to talk about these things. So I like to try and um, talk about things that are relevant to me and what I'm doing for work. And hopefully, some of you will get a little something from it because it is really important for me to be able to talk about subjects that are, how can I say, hitting home for my actual amputee followers, people in the different support groups that I see. I'm always trying to do something to basically talk about things that are going to be relevant to you. Um, and this kind of came up because I do have some wonderful new patients who I'm helping through some of their moments, and we're doing different things with them. So I'm always coming up with a different topic for the show. And this topic kind of came up because of several patients that I am actually working with. Um, I think it's a very predominant subject when we talk about body image and amputation, self esteem issues. So, um, I think it's a very important thing that never really gets addressed. So, as I was getting ready for the show, I did some research. I was Googling things, trying to see what I was going to say and how I was going to say it, trying to put some other thoughts with what I was going to do. And I came across a guy had wrote a thesis and he wrote it on this topic. And I used some other notes that I found. But his really touched home. And I'm going to talk from some of the points that he brought up in his paper because one of the things you must know too is that there's not a lot being um, how can we say researched on this topic. When we look at when you look at the topic that we're talking about versus how many people get amputations, I would really like to know how many of you actually got something from your orthopedic surgeon or medical staff regarding this topic: body image, amputation, and body image and self esteem. That should give you an idea how important it is because some of you probably didn't, and you probably still haven't gotten anybody to talk to you about this type of issue. So, as I was reading through some of the information, I found it very interesting that there is a huge lack um, in our medical industry regarding the appearance related concerns in our healthcare. People who go through amputations for whatever reason, disease related, trauma related, congenital, um, you're not finding people actually addressing and talking about the emotional aspects of this. I think you may find it a little more on the congenital side, but when you have people that are going through trauma or they're having amputations due to some type of disease, I think the ball gets dropped a little bit. I don't think here we are in the 21st century and doctors and healthcare providers are still not fully aware of how important the mental recovery aspect of amputation is to a patient. We're so concerned about the healing of the incision line and the residual limb and some of the other things that the patient may have going on. No one has fully addressed the emotional um, issues that these patients are facing when it comes to this other end of it, this whole other end that is a very, very important issue when you're dealing with amputee patients. We're seeing so many patients suffer with that regard because they're not getting that proper care. Now, like I said before, when you look at the type of research or the research papers or thesis or the information that's being put out there, when you compare that to There are millions of people living with limb loss in the United States, not to mention worldwide. Other countries on a worldwide platform. Uh, the people that are suffering from amputations, those numbers are astronomical, and they're growing every year. Every year, there's thousands more amputees being added to this list and to the numbers. Alterations to one's body, uh, that is a very important topic when we consider the sheer masses of people that are suffering amputations. So let's talk about that. The alterations to one's body, whether it's due to disease or a trauma, uh, these individuals are having that tough time to be able to adapt, to appreciate, or to, how can I say, to move into that new skin, to adapt to that new change. This can take them quite a while. Some people make it, some people don't. Um, and it can take them very far when you think about the mental, emotional aspects of a person going through this type of change from what they were to what they are now. So that is a huge thing that a lot of people go through. You, fellow amputees, I'm an amputee myself. For those of you that don't know out there in YouTube land, it's a huge uh, issue that we face. Um, are you a new amputee? Have you been approached with someone that is helping you address uh, the emotional issues that compound uh, the struggles that you're going to be going through, the challenges that you're going to be going through with the amputation? Are you struggling with negative feelings regarding an amputation? Have you had self esteem issues, or are you having self esteem issues? If you are, this is something that I'm glad you came across or will come across. And this is something that we should discuss. Let's talk about how we can improve your situation, others' situation, the impact on your body and self esteem from amputation. This is what we'll be talking about tonight on this show. Before we move forward, typically I like playing a little music, but because this is a very short show, I'm going to cut those little things very short. Um, Valley Wound Care is one of the people that I work with here in the Central Valley area. I am in Modesto, California, Northern California. And Valley Wound Healing Center is a great place that I have established a relationship with in my service their patients. If you are in this area and you are having issues like one of my patients today, most of my patients get referred over there for wound treatment and wound care. They are really the best. Deb and the girls will take care of you. Um, it's an awesome place to actually go and get hyperbaric chamber treatments and wound care. Valley Wound Care here in Modesto, California. They are the sponsors for segment one of this show, and I wanted to give them their shout out. Segment one of this show, we want to talk about some of the emotional support issues. So emotional support. Many of you that go through an amputation, did you get emotional support? Did you have something like that set up uh, pre or post amputation? I find in my area, not a lot of people get it. Most of you see me in my scrubs. I work for a prosthetic company called Synergy Prosthetics. Um, I am a director of patient care, a peer counselor, and peer visitor. I am certified through Amputee Coalition of America. I am constantly being called now that I have established myself in my territory and in this area as one of probably the only peer visitors and peer counselors in this area to help amputees um, with the issues that they face. I'm very busy, and I find that there are so many people that need um, this emotional support. It is a big reason why I started the podcast because it was so hard to have physical support groups everywhere that I go, from Stockton almost south to Fresno. it's impossible for me to do support groups on that basis. So that was the birth of Amp Life Talk Radio. Now you can tune in no matter where you're at, cell phone, tablet, computer. You can get the emotional support of a amputee doing an amputee peer support type radio show. So I'm very blessed to be able to do this and bring this information to you. Amputees need emotional support. Going through an amputation is a huge change to your life. Most doctors and healthcare providers, they know how to see and look after you once you go through your surgery. They're taking care of making sure you heal properly, getting the proper care as far as rehab. They're going to be able to provide that for you. But in my experience, very few know how or even to address the emotional healing aspects of an amputee after an amputation and what they need. It is very crucial that doctors, as well as other healthcare providers, know this and seek out the help that an amputee will need in this regards. I am, like I mentioned to you before, as a certified peer visitor, um, things are starting to pick up in this area for me, doing more and more work with surgeons, skilled nursing facilities, physical therapy departments, um, home health care, workers' comp nurses. I am actually developing a very good network of getting out to patients who are going through amputations and are struggling with the emotional side of it. And a big part of that is educating healthcare providers, doctors, and other people that this is here and this is something that is needed. And when they see the change in a patient, or they see how it affects a patient, to have someone start with them early to work with them with these issues, they actually understand why it is so important. Because doctors and nurses, they're great at healing you when you're hurt. But when they can't see the hurt, that's a whole different thing there. And a lot of amputees don't just come out and say, hey man, I need this, or hey, this is going on. A lot of people don't. So a lot of them go unnoticed, and they never get the help they need. Um, as a certified peer visitor and counselor, that's what I do. I talk with patients, helping patients to deal with their injuries um, and disfigurements because uh, these things can have a positive effect when uh, you're helping patients with this part of the amputation. I am very fortunate in this area, the Central Valley area of California, Northern California, Modesto, Stockton, Tracy, um, man, Turlock. I am very fortunate to have the people that I work with, other professionals in this industry that text me, message me, call me when a patient is in need, and I get to go and make a difference in a patient's life. Um, I think um, once you have shown that these types of things helps with patients, the positive aspects of going in and helping a patient deal with the emotional issues that they're facing, um, it definitely sets a precedent for uh, people in the healthcare industry to understand that there's resources there to help patients. There are when you look online, there are findings that you can read from, well, you really have to look to confirm that patients undergoing an amputation experience uh, psychological stressors. They get distress related to body image because you just had a body part moved. It needs to be treated just like any other wound. That's the thing that nobody's getting. That's the part that is kind of missing from the healthcare aspect. Nobody's catching this. Nobody has been brought up to speed with this, that the emotional scar is just as worse as the amputated limb. So we need to address that with the same type of attention that we are on the other side of it. The concept of body image encompasses uh, everything, the way in which a person feels, um, the way they see themselves in a mirror. Um, it affects their interactions with people. From my experiences, uh, it plays a very significant role in all aspects of their lives, especially the social aspects of their life, the interpersonal relationships that they have or will have. It's going to affect those. Body image can, it can be defined as this mental picture that people have of their physical self. And once that picture changes, that changes them. Um, the mental picture they believe others have of them is also part of the body image, self esteem impacts that amputation has on an individual. This mental image will incorporate their perceptions of their attitudes towards their appearance, functionality, sexuality. The concept also includes a person's opinion of how their body image influences intimacy, especially when you have couples, husband, wife. Now, some event has happened and you go through an amputation. It's definitely going to affect that. It's going to affect um, being around the house, who was doing what, who took care of the house, cooking, cleaning, doing the dishes, taking care of the laundry. If the husband took care of the wife took care of the husband, it changes those roles. It changes everything. So it's going to touch that person's life in a very dramatic way. These changes in appearance that many people endure as a result of trauma or disease can completely uh, affect one's life, especially when you look at they're looking at their pre-existing self, so the pre-existing body image they had of themselves, and take this person, uh, and now they're looking at how society sees them, what their ideal body went from to how now they feel they're being portrayed by other people. Um, I think a lot of times society and the way news and the way certain things are portrayed, for example, uh, the way the news covers stuff, and you see amputees out there doing that, that can affect uh, people with amputations. We see people running marathons, doing different things like that. We see Amy Purdy. Um, you wonder, am I going to be like that, or am I not going to be like that? Are people going to see me like that, or are they going to see me like that? How do they see me? Um, it's very, very important that people, as they go through this, they're going to experience decreased body images, decreased self esteem, decreased motivation. And all of these things can result in a very, very poor social skills, social interactions. They'll become anxious, anxiety. Um, some amputees tend to appear that they're distracted in their behaviors. These are things that are affecting them on such a high level that if you don't know about it, you won't know how to catch it and know that an individual is attempting to uh, reach out for help, but they're not getting it. And that's very, very important to be able to notice these things. Um, Body image is, I think we need to understand it's not something that's permanent, but it is characterized by constant change as a result of one, how the person develops and their environment. Um, Also, I think we're going to find that people's, how can we say, perceptions of, because you have to realize most people have no clue about amputees or amputations or any of that, and probably never went through any of that until it happens to them. Now, any perceptions or notions that they had about amputees, they probably saw a guy walking through, the store with a prosthetic. He probably had a limp. Probably was an older gentleman. They're probably now perceiving themselves as that because that's all they know about amputees and amputations and prosthetics. So one's own perceptions can affect their self-esteem and their body image once they become an amputee. That is so important to understand. um, this mental picture we have of ourselves, how we see ourselves, is going to be very important, but understand it's not a permanent thing. It can change to a positive rather than a negative. The changes in appearance that many people endure as a result of one of these disease or trauma, um, can completely alter one's uh, perception of themselves, what they used to be. I just had somebody today who, she was the mom, man. She cooked, cleaned, took care of the dad, and did everything, and now she's missing a leg. And her concern is are a lot of concerns. She is concerned about how she's going to be able to do that. And, you know, is he going to find her beautiful still? Is she going to still be that woman that he fell in love with? It's it's a very real thing, and it's something that most people won't open up and say to a doctor or a nurse. But as a peer visitor, an amputee peer visitor, when you come in knowing what questions to ask, knowing to how to read body language and to conduct assessments, you're able to get this information out, and then you're able to help them feel more comfortable with knowing what's to come, what is going to happen, what can be expected. And I think that's the biggest thing, expectations. Once an amputation happens, people don't know what to expect. It's almost like your life ends, man. Boom, stops. You can't see the future down the road because you don't have a leg, you don't have an arm, and you're trying to figure out, how am I going to do all this stuff now? So these things are really important. When an individual has a limb amputated, the person tends to definitely, and I think this goes through a lot of people's heads. They compare themselves, they compare their appearance uh, to his or her body and functional capabilities of others. So, and this can make it very difficult for the amputee to have a positive outlook towards their body now. Due to this, uh, it is potentially um, harmful because this can lead to a long term uh, disorder in the individual's body experience and how they see themselves. So we want to deal with those issues right off the bat. You know, um, the good thing is prosthetic devices have been used, as most of you know, for uh, hundreds of people, and prosthetics have been around for years. They've only gotten better. They definitely will help uh, with getting a person back up and living their lives, going on with daily activities, and sometimes regaining a full life. Um, I think it's very important that uh, we educate certain medical staff members to get a certified amputee peer visitor or someone who is trained involved as soon as possible, because I think the longer it goes, the worse this issue can become. Now, at segment two, I'm going to get into the impact of this issue upon amputees. But before I do that, I want to thank one of our other sponsors, Ortho Med Center here in Modesto, California. Dr. Brayton, awesome doctor. I get to work with him and learn a lot from this surgeon who is really good. And if you are going through um, anything where you require an orthopedic surgeon or orthopedic staff, check out OrthoMed Center here in Modesto, California. They have a great staff there, Dr. Purnell, Dr. Brayton. I think they just brought Dr. Cash over too. Robert Cash, Dr. Cash, man, he's a really cool cat there. The girls there, Cerise, all the girls there are wonderful. Julie, uh, good staff. They'll take care of you. And if you're going in, you never know, you might bump into me if you stop over at OrthoMed Center here in Modesto, California. Thanks for sponsoring segment 2 of the show. Let's talk about the impact of amputations and how they can affect your body image and self esteem. Keep in mind, I said it at the beginning, only a few studies have been reported in literature form in this area of research on body image and the amputee. Compounding the problem is the general public's misconception about prosthetics and their function. That does not help the issue at all. For example, I mentioned this a little bit earlier and touched on it. The media hype surrounding amputees out doing different things, running marathons, surfing, or doing whatever it is that they're doing. Hey, those are great. But uh, the viewer's perception can be distorted a little bit when it comes to the amputee because they're not really giving you the full picture. It's not really showing you all the emotional impact uh, that this loss can have on an individual. Very few amputees get to this level and will have some of the types of levels of success that you see in some of these news stories. Uh, even them, even those people have suffered some type of level of emotional issue with body image. We all go through it. As amputees, this is going to be one of the number one things that you deal with. It's going to be one of the number one things that comes up that affects you in every aspect of your life. We all are going to go through it. It's just the way that cookie crumbles, man. So media hype sometimes can affect this because of perception. Um, the need for emotional support is where nurses and other healthcare professionals can help improve um, with this problem due to the belief that an individual uh, must face uh, the how can we say the sequences of confrontation in order to dealing with their amputation. They got to face it. They got to face it. They're losing a limb. Educating healthcare providers and professionals with that respect. Everybody takes that in time. It will take an adjustment to deal with the disfigurement, the amputation, the loss of a limb. Um, as we've said, it takes a significant impact and will affect your social, your family life, everything that involves you, it's going to affect. It is going to be very crucial to have a good social and family support system in place so that the amputee can start the processing of adjusting to the change of the new appearance so that they don't stress, they don't have anxiety, they don't go through these weird emotions of feeling worthless, helpless. We want to make sure that that transition is smooth. Nurses should always assess their patients, listen to them, hear their concerns, and if you hear any type of issues, emotional issues, the psychological issues in their patients is crucial for them to catch early on and get someone involved. I don't know about other areas that you live in, but in my area, I got to say, for the most part, the people that I work with are pretty good at calling me right off the bat because I have spent the time talking with, spreading the knowledge, and showing people what needs to be done when you have a patient who is a new amputee. They've been through an amputation or they've been an amputee for a long time and they're struggling with some of the issues of being an amputee. So it's very crucial that they provide one, the support and encourage patients to confront their injuries, but more than anything, to talk to them and let them know if they're hurting or struggling or having a tough time dealing with something. Uh, Gradually um, exposing a new amputee patient to some of the issues that they're going to face in public with limb loss um, can help them adjust a little bit better. Seeing another amputee that is well adjusted also helps. These things can have a very positive effect when you're dealing with amputee patients and trying to help them get through this adjustment period in their lives as they're dealing with body image and self esteem issues. I want to ask this question. And for those of you that do see this video and look at it, and for those of you that catch the podcast, leave me comments, please, because what I want to do is I want to pose a question to you. I want to put this out there. What is the impact of amputation on your body image? Because that's what we're talking about tonight. What is the impact of amputation on body image? How is an amputation affected your body image or your self-esteem? Leave me some comments on that so we can read them, and you might be surprised who you might end up helping just by sharing a little bit about your journey as you went through this. Undergoing an amputation involves facing major challenges. I know for me it did. I know for some of you it probably did. Amputation causes a threefold loss in terms of function, sensation, and body image. It will inevitably, yeah, I can't talk now. It will, no matter what you do, lead to the reduction in physical activity, physical abilities. Um, it's going to affect your life, the way you did things, the way you do things. Being a new amputee, that's probably going to be one of the toughest things you're going to have to get used to. And that's probably going to be one of the things that you want the quickest answers to. I have a young guy now. First thing you wanted to know, man, am I going to be able to work out? Am I going to be able to get up on my leg? Your physical abilities, that will be probably one of the biggest concerns that you will have and every amputee will have. Um, and it will more than likely have a very significant effect on your life, your family, your kids, your job, everything that you do. If you're in sports, it's gonna driving, everything. Um, Losing a limb and not dealing with it emotionally well can affect financially your situation. It can cause some financial difficulties. It can force some people to go into isolation. It can also decrease uh, the most important thing we're talking about is your self-esteem and motivation. Um, Not wanting to get up, go outside, see friends anymore, see family anymore. It can have a very deep impact on your life. And I think the biggest thing when we look at couples and husband and wives, intimacy, intimate relationships are affected. Um, and we don't want that because we don't want that to jeopardize a relationship, a marriage. Um, but unfortunately, amputations have been a common failure or a common component that has led to marriage failure. Um, it is just one of those things that happens. It's very unfortunate. Uh, I think, too, if you could get people involved in that situation early on, it might help. Um, but it is something that is very serious that we need to deal with and face. All amputees are faced with this issue: phantom limb pain episodes, residual limb pain, um, which appears uh, on just an irregular, sometimes a regular occurrence or basis, mostly at night. For new amputees, this pain and these feelings in the limb, sometimes you talk to people and it feels like, from what they're telling you, they're going crazy because they're feeling things that they don't know how to express. They don't know how to express that to other people. I feel my toes moving, my foot's itching, a foot that's no longer there. So these things can also in themselves have a deep impact on new amputees, given the various challenges and experiences of loss and how you lost your limb. um, can affect the levels of both of these phantom limb pain and residual limb pain, phantom limb sensation. Um, it is it is hard for other people to believe the adjustment that a person has to go through after an amputation, and how this pain can trigger psychological issues, stress, distress, anxiety, because you lose sleep. How many of you out there didn't sleep so good or still losing sleep to this day because of pain? Um, it can do a lot of damage. The impact can be very deep. Um, as we're talking about this, I wanted to mention, even just today, and this is why I said I kind of got into this show today. Even just today, as I was visiting with one of my patients, and I got some alone time with him in the exam room, and we were talking, and he wanted to ask me a few questions, and he opened up to me because he wanted to ask me some questions that he felt reluctant to talk to anybody else about. Um, but with me, he felt a little bit comfortable, and he thought the moment was right. We were by ourselves. um, his issue was the phantom pains and the phantom sensations and what's going on with his limb. Maybe some of you have experienced this, and maybe some of you are experiencing this, but sensations during urination, or using the bathroom, is what he was having. And he didn't feel comfortable talking about it, but during urination, he felt like it was somehow on his residual limb, it was just running down his leg. He felt this sensation. That's a tough thing to talk to people about, especially if you have, you're a young guy, you're trying to go through something. You don't want to go tell somebody, hey man, it feels like I'm peeing down my leg when I use the bathroom. That's a weird thing to experience and feel. Nobody's going to understand that except another amputee that has experienced it, or someone in my position who is a peer visitor and counselor who has read up on that information and knows that that is a common thing that happens with some amputees. Not all amputees, but with some. Um, and making him feel comfortable knowing that it's a normal thing. It may go away, it may stay, but it is a normal experience. So when we talk about all these things and the impact of amputation on our self-esteem and body image, it's really a real um, issue that amputees face on a daily. But unfortunately, a lot of amputees don't have anybody to turn to. Um, an individual is expected, any amputee is expected to adapt to his or her new life, the new change, the new appearance. And in many cases, uh, there are some successful adaptations, um, and there are some that are not. And amputation, it, we all know this, is associated with PTSD, depression, anxiety, social discomfort, and body image anxiety. These things are very real for the amputee. For those that don't understand this, it is very it is very concerning, because I have heard stories where doctors have physically said to patients, "It's all in your head." And oh my goodness, what, man, to say that to a patient and not know the effect that you're having on a patient by saying that, it's just incredible. So it's so important for doctors, healthcare professionals, nurses, for people to understand the importance of the impact that the emotional issues that amputees go through from an amputation and how it affects the person. Body image is sometimes conscious system of perception. Your perceptions, a system of perceptions, attitudes, beliefs, and your dispositions pertaining to your body, how you feel, how you see yourself, how you've always seen yourself. Now you have an amputation. That body image changes. Not only changes for you, but it changes for how you think other people see you. The notion of body image is exceedingly, it's a very personal thing. Um, it's not something that most amputees will just openly talk about. And it's really going to depend on who they talk to and talk about with this issue that they're facing. Understand body image is not fixed, it develops and evolves uh, with every situation in your life. Life's experiences are pivotal in changing your perception of yourself and your self esteem. A person's body image can be threatened uh, or is threatened by um, appearance. We have been talking about that. And what do we talk about when we say appearance? Appearance. Me, I'm an amputee. I wear shorts all the time. I used to wear jeans all the time, my Levi's, my 501s, man. I used to wear those all the time. Ride my motorcycle, have my boots on, looking cool, some Nikes on. Now I wear shorts all the time. And I don't have, I wear my prosthetic out, I wear it proud. Other people, it may change. You could take a guy who was wearing shorts all the time like me. Amputation happens, now he wears pants. A lot of people are not comfortable enough to go out into public with their prosthetic on display. They feel weird. They feel they're not ready for that. And to be honest with you, to each his own. And when you're ready, you're ready. When it's time for it to happen, it'll happen. Um, it's easier to deal with. I will say that when you wear shorts, but that's going to be something that you have to make that decision on. You know, your body image, your appearance. Now, you're also going to experience with the appearance the functional issues of a prosthetic, especially if you're above the knee amputee. Um, Things get a little difficult when you're out in public, um, driving, sitting, going to the movies. You never fail as you go to the movies and you get that one spot and you're comfy, man. And everybody wants to walk across you going to the concession stand. You got to constantly get up. And for me, it's difficult because when I go to the movies, I take my leg off, I take my prosthesis off. So I'm just kind of sitting there chilling, and then everybody wants to walk through, and I got to get up, put my leg on, or stand up with one foot. So functional wise is a big issue too, um, which may explain some of the reasoning behind some of the altered body images that people have of themselves uh, in individuals who suffer from not only just their amputation, but other chronic illnesses. And they're dealing with all of that all at once, the amputation plus the other illnesses that they have to deal with in order to go out in public and adjust uh, to their new appearance out in public. That will definitely affect functionality, your functional levels as you go out and try to move on with your life. Many people um, do make some additional changes in an effort to conceal or master their amputation, getting covers and so forth. Real like I know upper extremities is a little bit different because people want things that look realistic. Um, but a lot of people with the upper extremities, some either get them or some don't. It just depends on the person and their comfort level. Um, the inconsistencies between body, uh, the ideal body, and the your body of It's like here's what I look like, and here's like how I see myself playing football. Here's reality. So when we have these things, there is the difference between the ideal body and the body that you really have. And these can create uh, a negative body image if we don't address some of these issues. Similar negative effects um, that can affect your confidence and your motivation. So, when we're talking about amputation, as you can see, it is very deep and it goes very deep. It is one of the things that is probably uh, on a level to where when you're talking about amputees and amputation, the emotional aspects run so deep and have so many topics to talk about. We're dealing with just what one, two, body image and self esteem, which are really tied together. Um, most people, all of us, we all desire to be normal. We all want to be normal. What is normal? Uh, we all want to be considered normal. And oftentimes, this desire uh, can lead to difficulties during the adjustment period as a new amputee trying to deal with our new situation. Unfortunately, society does put a lot of pressure on how we look, how we see ourselves, how we show ourselves to other people. Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat. One of the things that makes me so proud is when on my we have uh, an Instagram uh, account for Amp Life Talk Radio, and I am so proud when I see other amputees displaying themselves and their prosthesis or their amputation. Makes me really proud to see people owning it, going out, living their lives, putting the pictures up, and taking control, man. It really, really inspires me and makes me happy. Not everyone can do that. Society does put a lot of pressure on people to adhere to this particular image or look. And because of that, it's a major factor in the development and maintenance of a specific type of body image. Well, my friends, when you are an amputee, those rules have to go out the door because you are now living a different life. Adjustments in this type of situation uh, really are going to rely on the extent of your amputation. BKs, AKs, upper extremities, above elbow, below elbow, everybody's going to be different. And the emotions associated with the type of amputation, your change in appearance, the comfort level is all going to really determine on that how you feel, how you interact with others, and the amount of support that you receive is really going to depend on that one thing because we're all different. BKs are BKs, AKs are AKs, and so on. It's all going to be different, but it doesn't change. The emotional aspect of limb loss is the same. We all have to deal with it. There's a way that we have to deal with it. Having someone there to help us that has been down that path typically helps a lot um, because now you have someone that you can talk to, you can bounce topics off of, you can see, am I losing my mind or is this something that happens? It helps. Adjusting to the change in the body image demands strength, perseverance, and determination from you. You will have to be strong. You're going to have perseverance and you're going to have to be determined in order for you to overcome what is ahead of you. Those things right there, you must have as an individual who is coping with limb loss. Um, Also, understand this: if you have um, a good understanding from your support system, your family and friends, that is also a very positive uh, notch in your belt or in your corner that's going to really help you uh, overcome the impacts of these issues on your self esteem and your body image. Um, know that. I want to repeat those again. Your strength, perseverance, and determination as an amputee, new or old, is going to be is those will take you a long way. Family and friends, a good support system is also crucial and key and can make the transition a lot easier for you. It is thought that one can successfully recover from an amputation or this alteration in our body image by confronting these, how can I say, societal constraints of how we should look, revealing your new self and its features, proudly displaying it, proudly owning it is very crucial in overcoming the setbacks emotionally that an amputation can throw your way. So, my friends, please don't let an amputation be a jail sentence to you, locking you away, keeping you away from all your friends, your family, and being able to live a wonderful, beautiful life. It doesn't have to be that way. Again, I want to throw another question at you. Please load up the comments. Um, how do you feel amputation or your amputation has affected your body image? I would like to hear from you. So please drop the comments and I'll read those here in the video and over on Spreaker as I posted the episode up. But those are, I left you two questions that I really want to hear from you on. You can also message me on Facebook because we're on Facebook, Amp Life Talk Radio. If you want to hit me up personally, Sean R. Harrison on Facebook is my personal page where you can come and ask me different questions and communicate with me. I also do some long distance counseling through there. Uh, we can talk with each other back and forth, and I can help you with some of the issues that you're facing. Body image. Remember, body image is a personal or a person's individual perception of his or her own body. And remember, it is a multi dimensional dynamic process. And affected by just about everything: internal factors, external factors, sex, age, physical condition, everything. Everything is going to affect that. Your social environment, your social connections, relationships, um, everything's going to be affected by it. But we don't have to be a prisoner to it. We don't have to let it put us in jail to where we can't come out and enjoy and go back to living, being the person that we were before our change, our amputation, our new way of life. So, how do you, or how did or how do you view your amputation? That's a good question. How do or did you view your amputation when it first happened? Did you see it as a I don't want to say a death sentence, but did you see it as a prison sentence? Did you see it as I'm some type of failure? Did you see yourself as a failure? Some may see it as a sign of failure. Self-esteem is either positive or negative. It's a going to be one of the two: positive or negative orientation towards oneself, an overall evaluation of your worth, your value. How did you see your worth after your amputation? How do you see it now? Remember, self esteem encompasses your beliefs and emotions. I hope that all of you got something from this show tonight. And I hope that all of you really got what we're trying to talk about as far as we need to be healed not only physically from our wounds, but emotionally from our wounds when we go through an amputation. It is so, so important to make sure that we take care of ourselves in that regard. Because if we don't, we open ourselves to just so much devastation if we don't process how we deal with our amputation from a more positive and a better realistic standpoint. And I want all of you to be able to process your amputation, deal with your amputation, overcome your amputation, and not let it define who you amazing amputees are out there. I want you to be able to overcome whatever it is that is holding you back from being you. I want you to get back to living. I want you to get back to loving. I want you to get back to your friends. So, hopefully, this show helped a little bit with processing some of the emotions and how we feel about ourselves, our self esteem, how we get motivated, and how we deal with the amputations that we have suffered, we've went through, and hopefully we are going to pull ourselves back up, put on our boots, and get back in the game of life. I appreciate each and every one of you joining me for my first YouTube live broadcast. Thanks, guys. Be gentle with the comments. I strive to get this so much better in the future. And yes, as you see, I do some Spartan stuff, and I'll bring you guys up to speed with what's going on as I do more shows. Please understand, not every show will have a live video to it. There will be just some that are just the actual podcast themselves. I will try to bring you live videos as much as possible, but sometimes uh, I just want to hide from the camera. So hopefully you guys were able to get something from this, and I hope that everybody appreciates the value that I tried to bring in the topic that I presented to you tonight. Again, we're on Facebook, Amp Life Talk Radio, Sean R. Harrison. Um, Facebook Live, we do not do those videos anymore, but I will post a link from the YouTube live over there. If you want to listen to the show live, because this is a live stream podcast, not pre recorded, you can hear me in all my blunder and like today when I can't talk and I can't pronounce the words. It happens. Um, and you can chat with me over there. There's a chat forum over there that we have, but there's also one over here on YouTube, which I thought was pretty cool. I was kind of surprised to see that. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe, follow us, guys. I I I want to say hey to No Hand Bandit. Hey man, you're pretty cool. I'm taking after you now, getting on YouTube. So go in, check us out. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave them on the video. And you can reach me through all my platforms out there, especially on Facebook and the website, which you have the link on our YouTube channel, amplifetalkradio.com. Feel free to go over there and check us out, and you will see all the stuff that we're up to. And I'll bring you guys up to speed on some of the Spartan stuff that myself and Dave, the one-legged Spartan, are going to be getting into. Again, I thank all of you so much for listening, taking the time to spend with me as I talk to you about these topics here on Amp Life Talk Radio.